Well, it's just 1 o'clock, and the live feed just came on. It did from the Cork crematorium. Sadly, it's Peter's funeral today, and luckily they have got it on a live feed. Bye, Pete. I will pause it for a minute until actually something happens, other than the nice man playing the piano. Okay, I'm back to the live feed again, because the man looks like he's actually chatting to somebody there. Here we go.
on behalf of Peter's wife Ellen, his sons Marcus and Peter, his daughters-in-law Alison, Jennifer, his grandchildren Gemma and Lewis, Peter's sisters Wendy and Christine, his brother David, and his father-in-law Tim Donovan, and Peter's brothers-in-law, sisters-in-law, nephews and nieces. I would like to welcome you here today to pay tribute and to celebrate the life of Peter Ward. My name is John O'Carroll, and I'm an ethical celebrant accredited to the Irish Institute of Celebrants and the Association of Funeral Celebrants of Ireland. And it's my privilege to be here today to lead the tributes to Peter, who sadly passed away after a brave and hard-fought battle with cancer. This ceremony has been beautifully crafted by Peter's wife Ellen and his sons Marcus and Peter. Peter was born in Birmingham in 1953 to parents Mary and Frederick, and at the tender age of 6 weeks he moved to Bromsgrove in Worcestershire. It was there in the housing estate where they lived, and when he was nearly 18 years old, that Peter met and fell in love with Ellen, who was 15 years old. And although they had to fight against adversity, they went on to marry in April 1972, celebrating that 50-year milestone anniversary this year. Peter was a man of many talents. After qualifying as a mechanic, he worked for many small garages before going on to work for the Midland Bus Company for many years. He then went on to work in Oman for a short period, oil prospecting, before going to work for Land Rover in Solihull. While living in the UK, he got his private pilot's license flying fixed-wing aircraft and microlights. His passion, however, was motorbikes, and he took part in many bike trials and also sidecar racing, where he was a passenger. In 2000, Ellen and Peter moved over here and set up home in Ardfield. He renovated a cottage, which was to become their beautiful home, Rhubarb Cottage. He got a job as a school bus driver in Ardfield and surrounding areas, where he was, by all accounts, a very popular and well-loved man. You will no doubt hear from speakers today of Peter's love of music and how he took up the banjo and went on to play in a local group called the Mountain Ramblers, and how he also took up horology. I wish I had known that. I could have kept him very, very busy with the collection of watches that I have. But Peter's great love must have been for his wonderful wife, Ellen, who over the last 12 months nursed and took care of him with true and unconditional love and devotion. And also his sons, Marcus and Peter, and his daughters-in-law, Alison and Jennifer, and of course his grandchildren, Gemma and Lewis. In that love you will find strength. And I would like now to invite Peter's son, Peter, to give the eulogy.
Go on, Pete, you can do it.
I'm Peter, the youngest son, and my dad's namesake. I always assumed that this meant that I'd be the favourite son, but I guess it was just the easiest name to pick. Later on, I actually found out that I was a deal, that my mum could have me if he could have another motorbike.
Come on, Pete.
So how do I remember my dad? Well, if you all close your eyes, you'll see him in blue jeans, a white t-shirt with his crazy hair, which I was always jealous of. He's always calm and relaxed. Nothing ever seemed to faze him, although he did have a fiery side, which I could ignite. He was always up for a laugh and a beer, and he was a constant in my life. My first memory really was being driven around sidecar in the front of the round capsule in the sidecar, looking for Marcus, who disappeared for the day. And I can say that when we picked it up, there was lots of shouting, so I very much enjoyed that journey. We had a fun-filled childhood, was mostly filled with bicycle antics, pulling wheelies and doing jumps. And we were able to go on our own adventures and enjoy ourselves. There was always quite a level of discipline there to keep us in check. When I say us, I mean me. Okay, and I think this was very much needed. Okay, and those years of being able to go and do what we wanted in freedom made me and Marcus who we are today. Throughout our life, our dad passed on many skills to us. Marcus, with his more serious professional attitude, picked all the practical stuff, such as engineering and mechanics, so he was always the one that had to fix our bikes when we broke them. I think the only thing I really picked up was his wicked sense of humour and his ability to play the guitar, which we'd practice for hours, and then he used to have to take me week after week for guitar lessons. But his main passion that he passed on to us riding motorbikes. And this hobby was one that would end up costing him an absolute fortune over the years because of my amazing ability to fall off them, which he picked the damage bill up quite a few times. I also picked up his eclectic taste in music, with everything from Irish folk all the way through to bands like The Who, T-Rex and Led Zeppelin. My fondest memories are sitting at the house at the kitchen table, listening to music and having a beer, in plumes of smoke from his cigarettes or in later years his beloved vape. These are when he passed on his most important life advice to me. And now on to my favourite memory, the Circular Saw incident. This happened on a Saturday morning where he'd just been shopping, buying stuff ready for the move to Ireland. He returned back to Corbett Close in Aston Fields with a brand new circular saw in a box, which he proceeded to unwrap. I watched with growing anticipation as this unfolded in front of me. He unboxed it, set it down on the kitchen table, and slowly removed all the safety guards from the saw. He then plugged it in after checking the electrical flex to make sure that it was all okay and removed the paper from the plug. At this point, he then plugged it in and switched it on at the wall. At this point, he then removed all the safety guards off the blade on the saw. At this point, a good son would have stepped in and said, "Is this a good idea?" But I thought I'd see what happened. And then with a blink of an eye, I knew he was going to do it, and he pulled the trigger. And I watched in joy as my mum's tablecloth disappeared off the kitchen table and got wrapped around the saw. To lots of swearing, and then I could hear my mum come down the stairs. Okay, and that is one of my most favourite memories. My dad had many loves over his life, from cars to flying and motorbikes. These came and went, but his biggest love was for my mum. And now I have to pay tribute to her. She looked after him all of his life.
Yeah.
With the cooking his meals, cleaning his clothes, being his alarm clock in the morning, even warming his pants and socks under the grill in the winter months to get them warm.
Ruined.
It's safe to say he could not have survived without her. She selflessly dedicated her life to him and to us, and is the rock of our family. Although we did try to become self-sufficient later on in his years, and he was actually able to make himself a sandwich, and he did operate the washing machine, much to my mother's horror at one time. Well, as we say goodbye to my dad, always remember him stood there with that circle I saw in his hand, with his wild hair, that glint in his eye, and that devilish smirk. Anyway, I'm going to get going. See you soon. Good luck.
Oh, big hug, Pete. Big hug. Well done.
Thank you very much, Peter, for those absolutely beautiful words. Dear family and friends, I will now ask you to reflect on the life of Peter as we listen to Never Going Back by Fleetwood Mac. She broke down and left me again. Made me see where I've been. Never go back again. You don't know what it means to win. Come down and see me again. Never go back again. We'd now like to ask Marcus to come up and say a few words, please.
Go, Marcus.
First of all, thanks everybody for coming today as we say goodbye to my dad. As you can gather, motorcycles is probably the biggest theme that runs through our family. Me, Pete and Lewis have taken on enjoying the motorcycles themselves. My first memories really of motorbikes were being up at the Licky Hills, me on something he'd got from work, my feet barely just able to touch the top of the engine cases, and sending me across the field between him and one of his friends. The policeman that actually turned up to move us on couldn't believe his eyes. Needless to say, the said policeman disappeared for a few minutes before we packed up and went on away before anything happened. Coming to Ireland many, many years ago, again, as Pete mentioned, travelling around in the sidecar, my first memories of bashing down the lanes with branches banging off the front of them and his elbow tucked in the hedge the other side. Like Pete said, their childhood was full with basically being able to get away and do what we wanted. But that had its consequences. Every other weekend, me or Peter would fall off the bikes or have some kind of accident and end up in accident and emergency. Normally, it's when the old man was doing a bit of side work, covered from head to toe in oil, working on someone's car. And all you could hear for the phrase is, "What have you done now?" But needless to say, he picked us up and took us off to hospital. an early age, all I can remember is travelling around air shows and bits and pieces, tinkering with motorcycles and cars with my dad. That passion lasted forever, so I've always been with a motorcycle, and my job eventually was working with jet engines as a mechanic. So I thank him for that. During this period later on in life, as I grew to my teenage years, I formed a fairly close circle of friends, and as we became sort of like going backwards and forwards to the pubs, and I'd join the Air Force, the friends would often pop round for a beer or two with my dad, and then my mum would normally give them a curry. So I enjoyed friends of all ages, from my friends, Pete's friends, right up to elder people. He could get along with anybody. It was about this time that he decided to build a BSA Bantam, one we still have today. That was built in my bedroom, so when I come back off leave, it was there and we had to get it down the stairs. But so one trip on the way back from where I used to be stationed, one of my friends came with me, and we had some stuff to do on his motorbike and on mine, and it went a bit wrong, but Dad was there to sort it all out. Out came the pillar drill out from the garage. Where else would it go but on the dining room table? And there he set to work. Absolutely perfectionist, all sorted out, and we were back on our way again on Sunday night. It seems I may have inherited some of those traits, as it's not unknown for me to have a motorcycle in pieces on the kitchen floor. Not long after I was at Valley, I met Alison, and we've got 2 kids. Though in the end, the old man ended up costing me a bit of money anyway, with his passion for horse riding at the time. Sat my daughter on a horse at around 3 years old. And she still rides today. Passion for horses. That's never I did. For Lewis, they spent knocking around with us, fishing, riding the Bantam around the garden. A picture is still proudly shown on the phone today. We spent many an afternoon texting backwards and forwards about various sidecars and motorcycles he liked the look of. And when I actually did go and pick one up for him, much to my horror, he said I should ride it, and was fairly insistent on me getting some miles underneath the belt on the said contraption. Even more to my horror, I actually enjoyed it. And I still browse the free ads today looking at sidecars. He got this wish to die at home.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still going. They're, poor old Marcus is speaking there. Peter's been on.
And more importantly, in his garage, thanks to my amazing mum, and I was always different football.
Wendy's there.
So Dad, so long, save me a space at the table, and have a cold beer. Book talking. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Marcus, for those absolutely wonderful words. On behalf of Peter's family, I would like to thank Dr. Ivan Martin, the community nurse, the cancer service in Cork University Hospital, the community, for the wonderful care they showed for the beloved Peter. I would also like to thank Charles O'Sullivan and all the staff of O'Sullivan's Funeral Home for their compassion and professionalism. Dear family and friends, we have come here to take part in this celebration where we bid our sad goodbye to a man who is a loving husband, father, father-in-law, a doting grandfather, a loyal friend, and a true gentleman. In grief, hearts feel empty and lives feel so surreal that it is difficult to comprehend at the present moment. In time, our empty hearts start to fill with the loving memories that will eventually ease our grief and strengthen our resolve to carry on within us the love of those who have passed. Now, as time goes by, you will be able to look back on the happy memories and give a little smile, have a little moment, and carry on knowing that those loved ones will always be in our hearts. I will now address Peter on behalf of the family. Peter, as we gather here to say our sad farewell to you, you know that we don't want to say goodbye. You know that over the last 12 months we have watched as you waged a battle against your illness. You know that finally that illness has taken a big part of our lives when you succumb to it. But words cannot express the gratitude we have for the life you have lived and the love you have shared. You have brought many moments of joy and happiness, smiles and laughter to us all. You have moved through our lives with a caring heart and a generous being. We now commit to holding that memory of you within our hearts. And as we say goodbye, we take from you the elements of kindness, goodness, and the promise to allow others into our hearts so that we may carry on your good work. It is now time for us to leave this place and to go into the world enriched in your memory. And in conclusion, dear family and friends, we will now listen to one of Peter's favourite pieces of music, Free Bird by Leonard Skinner.